Recently, WarcraftLogs conducted a poll that resulted in exclusion of Hodir from overall parse rankings and invalidated all Thorm logs that used Aura of Celerity during the fight. Not only that, but all the logs that at one point used Aura of Celerity were excluded from speedrun and execution rankings. And that is really stupid. Hodir, in my opinion, is one of the best mechanically executed fights in Aldor, and if you do everything correctly every time, you will achieve similar results every time. But WarcraftLogs decided that the encounter was too RNG heavy to show up in rankings. Why? How is that RNG heavy? All the RNG in that fight falls on your teammates to properly distribute buffs. Like, that's literally it! 10 seconds after you free the mage for the first time, she drops a campfire. Then, 5 seconds later, one of your teammates gets a storm cloud that he or she has to spread to 6 of your pre-assigned DPS. You can also more or less predict where the pillars of light will drop and move there preemptively. Where's the RNG? It's all team mechanics. There's also an argument that it's not really fair towards those who are left with no storm cloud buff, and to that I have to ask, have WarcraftLogs ever been fair? If you spread into 2 camps on Vezax and 1 camp never gets a Shadow Clash puddle, is that fair? Will WarcraftLogs indicate that you are just unlucky? No. They will proudly give you your grey parse and send you off. So why is Hodir different? Because some people are having difficulty executing the fight properly? I'm just curious, if you voted for exclusion of Hodir, let me know down in the comments what was your reasoning for that. Another change that WarcraftLogs implemented was removing damage done to big robot adds on XT from overall DPS. And while I can somewhat see where this is coming from, this might affect the community in a negative way. Admit it, we all know that one guy that does everything imaginable to get as high parse as he can. And even those who don't chase parses, they will cleave stuff whenever possible just to have a bigger number. And excluding ads from that bigger number might just turn those players off from ever switching to ads or spend extra resources on cleaves. On one hand, yes, that is a player problem. If people are unwilling to cleave ads, then they probably shouldn't be in the raid in the first place. But no one can deny that changes like that influence the way the game is played. At least in a more or less competitive setting. Speaking of influencing the way the game is played, let's talk Thorm changes. So, during the arena phase, where the raid splits into the stay behind team, has to deal with waves of various ads. One of those ads, Darkrune Warbringer, has an always active aura that gives all their allies 20% haste. And if you mind control this Warbringer, then your party will get this aura, since now you're allies. Well, what do you know? WarcraftLogs decided to invalidate all the fights that use this aura of celerity. Why? Beats me. Blizzard even made an achievement to kill Thorm with this aura active, which means that not only they intended this aura to be used like this, they encouraged it! But not our precious WarcraftLogs. Thanks to the poll results, aura of celerity is now actively discouraged from being used. All the logs that use the aura are now excluded not only from Thorm rankings, but also from speedrun and execution rankings. And to me, that doesn't make any sense. For a good speedrun, you need a fitting team composition that has as little gaps in their abilities as possible. And if you need a priest to kill Resuvius in 25-man Extramas, I can see how requiring a priest to kill Thorm faster is any different. I've seen some arguments that, again, say it's unfair to rank those who got the aura against those who did not. Well, is it unfair to rank the warriors who were in the raid with the Frost Death Knight against those who didn't? Because the difference is the same 20% haste. Why don't we invalidate those parses too while we're at it? It's the same question of team composition. If you don't bring a certain class, you are unable to use some of the things this class brings to the table. How is Aura of Celerity any different? And what about the achievement? Do we really have to forfeit a week of Thorm rankings just to get the achievement? That is really dumb. In my opinion, tools like WarcraftLogs rankings have to encourage as many different strategies as possible, to encourage experimenting, finding new hidden things, and not put everyone in the same box because it's easier to rank that way. And thanks to these changes, I'm concerned that the more encounters introduce new different things, the more restrictions we will get, completely killing innovation in law of higher parse.